Welcome back to Yeti at Large. It's wood cutting morning. It's early. It couldn't be more gorgeous. And we're getting after it before the clouds and the monsoon season get loaded. I'll listen to 80s rock and roll till I turn off the pavement. The minute I hit dirt, I roll down the windows, turn off the music, and I get my head in the game. Safety message, game plan, equipment checks. Now it's time to get focused and let's get the job done. I choose to carry my saws on the arms of my wheelbarrow here with the tank facing down so that the large saw won't slide at all and the small one's close enough I can keep an eye on it. It's the safest way for them to travel. I leave the covers on them, but don't let go of the handles of your wheelbarrow because it's unbalanced. All else I need at my cut site besides my gloves, hearing protection, are my measuring tape, my wedge, and my rubber mallet. Alrighty, I've begun by remeasuring the tree, checking for any signs of life, double checking my permit, and confirming what I consider to be the fall direction. I'm hoping to have it go this way. But once you get a tree moving, all of that energy can get a mind of its own. This is not advice or instruction, but it's just my experiences. I make sure I have a good escape path and all of my precious equipment is out of the way. Let's get started with the little saw and clean up the limbs so we got a safer area to work. I start by getting a clear working area, my height, all the way around. So it's about 6.5 feet. I'll clear that debris and then make more decisions. Watch where you set a hot saw. Make sure you're not putting it someplace that could cause a fire. Now, much of what I just cut, I'm going to want. When I said don't waste, I really meant it. This is good firewood. And I'll also keep some of this handy around the house for little projects and knickknacks. Knife handles, drawer pulls, you name it. So yeah, we're going to save this. Plus, I won't work stepping over this kind of stuff. It's too dangerous. My mind needs to be on where I'm cutting, not where my feet are as much. The next set that I'll take off is what I can reach overhead without overextending. Doing this limbing work now, while the tree is off the ground, saves you a lot of grief and stress later, especially sticking the tip of your blade, your chain, in the dirt, where it's going to get dulled instantly because it's going to hit rocks. It's probably not easy to see on YouTube world, but I've got a natural lean of the tree. I'm right under it right now, so I won't stay here when it starts moving. And I've got the natural fall of the hill. I'd like it to fall about in the direction that the blade is gone across. I'm going to just do a classic bite, absolutely as low as I can. And that's not just to prevent the stump, but that's to harvest as much firewood as clean as possible. And there are really no rocks around the base of this tree, so I feel like we're in pretty good shape. After I cut that wedge, we'll reposition, go to the backside, and I'll do a high back strap, and hopefully that puts her down. So at this point, I'm lining up the direction of the cut to be identical to the one in the front. Ultimately, I want to create a thin hinge in the middle of the tree that it will swing on. As I'm cutting, I'm going slightly downward with the hill. This is an unorthodox method, but it works for me if I'm patient. You can see I've got my wedge and my mallet ready. I keep 1 foot on the ground and my knee on the ground. If for any reason I need to escape, I'm ready to bounce. Once I've got double the width of the bar in there, I don't mind putting a little tap with the wedge to let the tree know what I want from it and to make a little more space. You can see the tip of the bar is barely coming outside the edge of the tree away from the saw. I'm doing that because I want to avoid putting the tip in the dirt. You'll see I left a little chunk of wood behind where I should have had a little more tip sticking out on that side. Right there, the tree moved for me, so I'm going to put the wedge the rest of the way in and stand back for a minute. I've had plenty of trees let go after a minute of that. I give it a nudge to see if it's on the edge, and it needs a little more. So I'm going to get in and thin up that hinge with my next cut, and I won't hit the wedge anymore. It's far enough in there I don't want to have the chain contact that. I'm never on the throttle while I'm putting the blade back in the cut or one-handed. You can see there it let go, and I got away from it. And I stay away for a minute. It may be down right now, but I've had trees do plenty of funky things, including having a good-sized branch come back to earth a few seconds after the tree hit the ground. Slightly unorthodox method, but a very successful fall. No steel in the tree. You always got to watch for that. Ask me how I know. Let's get our tape measure out and confirm that we haven't violated a rule here. And let's get to work on cleaning this up. So at measurement 0, that is about 1 inch off the ground. I hope you can see that on TV land. From outside of bark to outside of bark, it measures precisely 18 inches. And the policy here is at 6 inches. It can measure no greater than 18. So we are literally right on the money, following the rules. Now, up until the point that this tree started moving and fell, on TV land, it might have looked a little small. But looking at it on its side, it gets a lot bigger, don't it? These are a lot of work. So now the real work begins. And I gotta tell you, I take no joy in dropping a tree. I would never do this to a live one. These are too precious for that. But I do understand the life cycle, and I have a profound amount of respect. So it would be fair. You can go ahead and call me a tree hugger. This thing is unbelievably beautiful. I feel very privileged to have found it. And we're going to use every last scrap of it possible. When we're done, the stump will be cleaned to ground level. All of the lop will be slashed within the regulations and scattered around. And I will clean up and make sure we leave no damage behind. All right, little hydration break. Swap out the tools. We're going to clean all the little stuff off of this now while it's in the air, while it's not in the ground. We'll start to take some measurements and we'll get this thing processed. You might notice I do a lot of plunge cuts, top cuts, down cuts, but I never cut where I can't see, and I never get my feet crossed. Slow down. We're out of fuel, so that's the saw telling me it's time to take a break. Let it cool down, I'll rehydrate, clean up some of my slash, we'll get back to it. Some of y'all might be in the mood to tease me a little bit about being so conservative with my energy. What I'm talking about is I pick these logs up once from the other side where all the trim is, and I don't like walking over there absolutely any more than I have to, because half the time you feel like you're going to trip. So I lifted the logs up and put them on top of this here because I figured I got them to waist level once. Why drop them back to the ground and have to pick them all the way up and do the same work twice? I've cut a lot of wood by myself, and I've cut a lot of wood with groups. And you still have to have enough energy to be able to concentrate on the drive home pulling a trailer full of heavy wood. So not repeating a single step twice, not walking around empty-handed, is a great key to success. And wheelbarrows can get pretty funky off-road, so I keep a strap. It's not a ratchet strap, it's just a pressure one, but I find that it just holds things just enough that they get you where you're going without dropping a bunch of wood. And I forgot my gloves back down at the truck, so we're going to go down and get our gloves, and then we're going to start marking and cutting again. All right. This one's on camera. Watch me get down there and wipe out something fierce. If I do, we'll leave it on YouTube. It would be badass to get a shot of me motoring up that ramp on the trailer this late in the day. But it would also be stupid with the heaviest load I have. And I still have a large piece of wood to bring down. So let's just be smart. Take our time, drop our strap, and load it by hand. You know, I wasn't going to film this, but then I thought to myself, I love watching those great fail videos, so why not be on one? I've moved the trailer so that I got a straight shot into the ramp here. And I am blocking the whole road, so I want to be quick about this. But I guarantee you, anybody come along is going to want to watch this show. Smooth, smooth, baby. Calm. My way, Navi. My way. Come on, baby. On the ramp. In the trailer. Now that we have all the wood loaded, we're going to cut for the day. We need to put our load tags on the back of our load. That's what I keep that staple hammer for. It makes it really easy. Normally I have a hole punch that I use, but I couldn't find it, so I used a dark Sharpie. Some people will poke a hole with a screwdriver through it. We'll staple them on the back where a Forest Service Leo or FPO can see those. They check them just like a game warden will check your fishing permit. The day was getting kind of long and the clouds and lightning were moving in, and this size of the wood that I put in the trailer is legal to remove. I'll finish cutting it up when I get home. And yeah, I was goofing off having a downhill run into the trailer. It's nice to know you can still do crazy stuff and not go overboard. We'll make sure the rest of the gear is ready to roll. We haven't left anything behind, and get ready to head on out. Well, this ain't a selfie stick, and I swore I'd never use one of those things, but it's close enough. Toothless did great. I was half tempted to leave that log on the wheelbarrow and strap it into place, but that high center of gravity was just begging for trouble. So I tipped it over, thank you Pythagoras, and the wheelbarrow's now wedged in there, not hurting nothing. So that's how she's gonna ride. I don't have any freeway or interstate to take home. I'm taking all back roads. Jackson Professional Tools. You guys build a fine wheelbarrow. Normally I would have another tree in mind and fill that trailer completely full. But I think we've had a heck of an... That's our site where we left. Everything is lopped and scattered down to 18 inches. A couple little twigs are poking up, but nothing into the world. I really tried to minimize the ruts that I made. I'm allowed to drive a few feet off-road to collect my wood, but I'm not going to do it this time of year with the mud. You can see where the wheelbarrow cut across here, and then where I backed the trailer up to load it right onto the ramp. Oh, I really love these woods. I'm grateful we still have them. We've been through some hellish wildfires lately. It's going to be a lot of more years before the new fuels management programs here catch up with the last 150 years of fire suppression. Till that time, we all need to do our fair share. Be a good steward of these public lands. You hear that? Me neither. Thank you for tuning in to Yeti at Large. We'll see you for the next episode where we split and stack this stuff. Half a trailer's worth of wood and I'm beat. Whose bright idea was this?